Elvie Shane is in the studio, and a new album is out. Good morning, Elvie.
What's going on? How are y'all?
I know. Do we ever ask? We're fine. Did we ever ask you how you got Elvie? Is that a? Did we ask you that?
Well,
I think we did.
Man, as of late, I grew up my whole life being the only Elvie I knew of, and as of late, I've discovered I'm a mobile breast pump company called Elvie.
Okay.
There's a bunch of Filipino women, or Filipina, I think you say, named Elvie. And then my great-grandfather was named Elvie. So I
love all those old school names like Elvie.
So that makes you a Filipino lady. That's awesome. Can you make lumpia? If you can make lumpia, you can stay all day.
I don't even know what that is, but I can make some. I can make fried taters and biscuits, cat head biscuits.
Not the same.
Well.
Dude, lumpia is one of my favorite foods on planet Earth.
Well, I've never been over
Pinoy.
on that side of the world. You have. I need to go check it out.
You haven't been to Asia?
No, we closest I've been. We went to Australia here just a few weeks back, and we were going to go to Japan, but we waited a little too late. The flights from Australia to Japan went from $300 to $1,600. I was like, I guess we're not going to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Japan's cool though. We went
Japan.
for a USO tour once.
I would imagine it's great over there.
It's not great. You would fit in because you're small. I did not.
Big D had a T-shirt that said in Japanese, it said, "I am not a sumo wrestler."
People would just stop and take pictures of me.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was weird.
So everybody over there's pretty little. Then
Yeah.
I'm taking.
Yes.
I don't know if I would fare well in Japan just because I have hand tattoos. So I don't have any tattoos that I can, or I have tattoos that are going to show regardless of what I'm wearing.
What, hand tattoos are bad in Japan?
So yeah, the culture over there is still pretty old fashioned, and like you can't go into public bathrooms and stuff if you have the restaurants, public bathrooms, certain restaurants and public bathrooms, stuff like that. You can't go in if you have tattoos.
I don't believe this.
Well, that's what I was told.
I don't believe this.
We
I
had
don't
a
believe
bunch
this
of
at
people
all.
with us, and most of them were military. And if you're military, there's a lot of tattoos around.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I've never been there. I'm just going off what
I'm
been
guessing
told.
the person who told you that has also never been to Japan.
Well.
True.
Or there was another reason they were trying to keep you out. Might have been that
Yeah,
$1,600 flight.
That's right. All right, Elvie Shane, he's got a new album. It's called Damascus, and man, we are loving this album. We'll talk about that with some music and Elvie Shane coming up. There's a new album out from Elvie Shane. It's called Damascus, and it's got, I don't know, a bunch of songs on there that you definitely want to listen to. Bob and I were really jamming out to this, the new one, the first place with
Little Big Town.
With Little Big Town.
Yeah, and Damascus, are you referring to the steel or the city?
Well, a little bit of both. The first idea came from a conversation about the Apostle Paul with a co-writer friend of mine, and it was right after we put Backslider out, so I was trying to figure out where I was going. I was like, well, I'm on my own road to Damascus right now, But then, I started thinking about what happened when we started writing all these songs, and they had such a different vibe from each other. And I was like, man, I love all these songs. How do I put them on the same record? And I started thinking about Damascus steel and how, you take all these different steels with different carbon and nickel levels. You put them in a forge together, and you guys have probably seen the blades before. You get the black lines and stuff from all the different types of metal. And it's supposed to be a really strong...
Carson was just telling us about all this the other day. We had to cut her off.
Damascus steel.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
But Damascus steel is some of the most beautiful steel.
Yeah,
it
it
just is. Those blades,
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's strong. I actually just got to make one with a master knife maker up in Clarksville for this project, for some promo stuff. I got to actually forge this knife. It was a cool process, and it was very much like putting this record together. I went and listened to everything from Johnny Cash to Mac Miller, Foo Fighters, Nipsey Hussle, and like trying to learn different cultures and different sounds and apply them all to this record. So that was just all my different types of steel to throw on the forge.
I get it.
So
you're like a mad scientist of music.
I don't know if I'm a mad scientist. My head's just a million different places all the time. The committee's always having a meeting, you know what I mean? But Oscar Charles is definitely a mad scientist, the guy that produced the record. He did a really great job on that.
Well, Bubba, we've got it here. This is the latest from Elvie Shane. It's called First Place with Little Big Town. Elvie Shane with Little Big Town. That is called First Place from the album Damascus. It's available now. Boy, they can sing.
It's nice to have them doing your background.
Yeah, man. Dude, and that was like, oh my gosh, I feel that's part of that song that I feel so bad about. We got into the studio and they came in and first off, they were amazing to work with, but they put so much effort into like getting all the background parts done and making sure they got it right, and they sounded awesome. And then the engineer was like, well, I've got to go. And I was like, well, they haven't sang anything else yet. And it was like, so they ended up just singing harmonies and those big background parts in the chorus. And I was like, well, great. Now here little old Elvie Shane is, and the only thing, Little Big Town's doing on this song is singing backgrounds, but it turned out awesome.
I think it's amazing sounding sonically. It's really cool. It's very, I don't want to say Kansas, but I love the fullness. Like, you think Carry On My Wayward Son and how big that sounded the first time you hear it. That's kind of the way First Place feels. It's got a little bit of that vibe going. And I'm not comparing the two songs. I'm just saying it feels like that.
Well, I'll take that, man. That's awesome. I just loved how they sound so smooth and their harmonies are so beautiful. And it's like that song is a little angsty for me. The whole thing that kind of sold that song for me was the part where I start being like, I'm tired of coming in last. Yeah, and it's like I felt that for the last year and a half, 2 years since My Boy. I've really felt that sometimes, and just the combination of those smooth harmonies and that rough lead vocal it came together in a really cool way.
I was going to say, you guys complement each other. It's the rough and the smooth and it's like Damascus.
Yeah, it's a little bit more Damascus.
That's right. All right, Elvie Shane's with us. We'll come back. We'll talk more with Miss Elvie and some touring news next. Hang on. Elvie Shane is in the studio. He's got a new album out. It's called Damascus. It's so good. Works really hard on this. It's got a kind of a different feel. It's got a little bit of everything in it. It's kind of like the way you are. When you walk in, I noticed that you have it looks like a hanky in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Like my dad used to have. My nose would be running, and he would hand me that, and I'd blow my nose, and he'd put it right back in his pocket.
Haven't washed it for a month.
And then the next person, I'm like, ooh, I know where that's been. Now, is that a functional hanky, or is that just a...
Sometimes it's used for that. Sometimes it's used to wipe the sweat on stage, Smear a little snot on your forehead.
It's got to be prepared, though. You just never know what's going to happen. How many tattoos do you have on your body?
Oh, Lord. At this point, I don't know, man. I mean, I've gone a little crazy. Once I had my first hand tattoo, it was just kind of all downhill from there.
The hand tattoos, that's a really, you're committed.
Well, that was actually why I got the first one. It's the bird from my logo. I was sitting on a porch of a house at the beach on vacation, and I was about to leave Nashville. I'd been here for a while, and I was starting to really struggle. And I was like, well, if I go get a hand tattoo right now, it's going to be real hard to just get a real job, So,
wow.
So I literally, that was my thought process, and I went to the tattoo shop there in Panama City Beach downtown, and got the bird and came back, and it wasn't too long. I got my publishing deal and everything. So.
That's the weirdest story.
Well, no, we've said it 100 times.
Logic.
Not having a plan
No
B
plan B.
forces you to have some semblance of success in whatever field you're doing. Mm-hmm. If you're a plumber and you don't have a plan B, you're going to make yourself the best plumber you can be.
Yeah, well, and dude, I'm prone to doing stupid things like that anyway. I remember like the day I bought my Mustang GT back after I first got my record deal. The day I rolled that thing off the lot, I had negative $27 and change in my bank account, and I was like, and the payment was going to be like, I don't know, $400 or $500 a month, and I was like, but I really want this car, and I never missed a payment, and I smiled every time I got in it, So,
yes.
I don't know. You force yourself to, and that's a material thing, obviously, so it's not as important. But
those things are important. We have to have those things. And Dee and I talk about it all the time. Like he's got his old '70s Chevelle and stuff. There's something about having something that makes you proud. Yeah. Like when you leave your Mustang, you walk away, but you almost every time you almost always look back and check on your girl one more time.
Yeah, right now it's an '89 F-150 that the window stopped working on after I wrote it down and paid $25 for a car wash the other morning. Had to back out. I just turned around. I was like, and it was just a day that life chose violence from the start. So I just turned around, looked at everybody. It's like, y'all gonna have to move because this mother's coming out of here. I'm coming back. If you want to keep your front bumper, get out my way because I'm having a rough morning.
Elvie, you're the weirdest person I know.
I'll take it, man.
You really are.
I am the weirdest person I know as well.
The album is out. It's called Damascus from Elvie Shane. First Place is such a jam. It's on there with Little Big Town and Elvie. Always good to see you, brother. Thank you.
You too. Thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Well, because over the years, teenage kids have told you to like and subscribe, we don't have to say that anymore.
You know what to do.